Hey all you Switch fans, Trick Wallace here, back with another great deal video. Today's video is going to focus on $2 budget eShop games, with just a couple of little cheats in there also. Alright, let's start this video. Alright, first and foremost, let's start out with what is probably the best reviewed game on this list, and that is Playdead's Inside. I've talked about Inside before, absolute indie critical darling. If you're not familiar with it, you play as a young boy who is making his way through a very dark and mysterious laboratory. The whole game is very shrouded in mystery. It's one of those type of things where you don't really ever truly understand what the game is completely about, but you kind of piece together what's going on. But it is one of the best games on the Switch, and right now it's 85% off for $2.99. So that's my biggest cheat for this list, but I really wanted to include it because it's such a top quality game. And Playdead also has Limbo on sale for 80% off at $1.99, so it hits that $2 price. This is the game that came out before Inside. I think it still really holds up with its great minimalistic art style. In this game, you play as a young boy who is searching for his sister in Limbo. What exactly Limbo is, the game never fully explains. Maybe it's a sort of purgatory. You're not really sure ever. But again, if you enjoy puzzle platformers that do have a little bit of an extra bit of stress from some of the danger, then you're really going to enjoy this one. All right, my next recommendations are from the developer Two Tribes. They have both of their Toki Tori games and Rive on sale right now for $1.99. The Toki Tori games are basically puzzle platformers, very slow paced, very thinky kind of games. The first one is all level based, sort of a drop in, drop out kind of old school kind of level design. Whereas the second one takes that formula but puts it in a Metroidvania style game. They're both very relaxing experiences. Don't go in expecting anything with high amounts of action, but again, if you like puzzle platformers, you're gonna love these. So on the polar opposite from Toki Tori, as far as the style of game, you have Rive. In Rive, you play as a sort of space trucker who's gotten trapped on this mysterious ship. And it's up to you to fight your way through, figure out the mysteries, and to ultimately escape. The game actually has fantastic voice work, something you don't really see in a lot of smaller indie games, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And again, it's 87% off for only $1.99. All right, the next game is Sturmfront. Sturmfront is an old school top-down arcade action twin stick shooter style game. That's a mouthful, isn't it? But the moment you see this game, the moment you kind of understand exactly what you're getting, it's very gory, over the top, very mature rated compared to the kind of games you would have played like myself back in the arcade when you were young. It's currently 80% off for $1.99. And I have to say, I would not normally recommend this game at full price, but not because of the quality, but rather the fact that there's a huge oversight, and that is that it doesn't have co-op. I don't know how you release a top-down, old-school arcade shooter and not have co-op. Every one of these types of games when I was growing up, they all had co-op. So it's a huge oversight, but at this really cheap price, I think it's still worth it. All right, the next game on my list is Inferno 2. I've actually talked about this game before in a previous video. This comes from the developer Radiant Games. He's really great at making Geometry Wars clones. This game is sort of if you combine Geometry Wars with a gauntlet style hack and slash. So you're taking your Geometry Wars style fighter, making your way through levels, finding keys, finding upgrades to your abilities. For each level, you're finding these spawn points for where enemies are flooding out, and then ultimately finding an exit and making your way to the next level. It's a really charming combination of those two genres that I haven't seen too many other games do, and I think it's absolute steal for $1.99. All right, the next game is The Bug Butcher. Not a lot to say about this. If you've ever played Super Pang back in the arcade, which is where you would shoot straight up and try to destroy bubbles, you basically take that game and you put it on an intergalactic spaceship, and you are an exterminator blowing up bugs. So that's basically what it is. Again, it's not a deep game, but it knows what it is and it does it really well. And that is 75% off for $1.99. All right, the next game I'm going to recommend is Cybarian. This one is a bit nostalgic for me because this is actually a game that I featured in my very first video on YouTube. It's a retro throwback platformer. It's got a beautiful visual style, great audio. I really enjoy the combat in it. Rather than the game encouraging just hack and slashing as fast as you can, the game encourages you to time your hits in a sort of measured out sequential order. Think of like the active reload system from Gears of War, but apply it to sword slashing. But it is currently 60% off for $1.99. Great game at full price, absolute steal at $1.99. All right, I'm also going to sort of recommend Despotism 3K. The reason I say sort of recommend is I played the game. I don't know if I really love it, but it's such a unique and bizarre game that I know there's an audience out there for it. Essentially, you play as an AI who is harvesting humans to power and keep himself alive. It actually can be a little bit dark and disturbing, but also really funny. Do note that this one is not for kids. Despite the primitive pixel style graphics, I can say that the mating chamber in the game gets surprisingly graphic. But if you like a really bizarre simulation and strategy game, I think you're gonna like this one. It's currently 80% off for $2.19. Close to that $2 price, just a little bit more. All right, so my final game is not one that I'm necessarily recommending personally because I am picking it up on this sale, but that is Serial Cleaner. I've had my eye on this game for a while. Looks like a lot of fun. Essentially, you are the cleaner for the mob, and you are sent in to go and clean up all the dead bodies before the cops can arrive. So my understanding is that you're making your way through these levels while trying to avoid the cops who are searching out these areas, all the while trying to clean up all the blood and the mess left behind by the mob. Definitely a silly, goofy way to approach a pretty dark kind of subject matter. But that game is currently 85% off for $2.24. All right, so check out this deal reel for some more great looking $2 games. All right, all you Poindexters, I hope you really enjoyed this video. Let me know down in the comments below if you're picking up any of these games. I'll put some in cards here, one here and one here. That'll take you to some of my past deal videos. A lot of times those deals are still current, so they're worth checking out. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you later, tricksters. Bye-bye.